All right, Donnie.
Yes, sir.
Donnie, where'd you grow up? Where are you from originally?
I'm originally from the Inland Empire of California,
Like San Bernardino?
San Bernardino County. Yes, sir.
Yep.
Ontario.
And tell me about your family growing up. You had both your parents?
My parents were never there. My mom was a drug addict. My dad was a drug addict, and he was always in prison all my life. And my mom was neglectful, to say the least. Always not being the mother that I needed, really.
How would you describe your childhood in general?
Um, a lot of lonely times, a lot of feeling the need for that parental love that a child needs, and I just longing for it. It turned me to the streets, and it led to criming, drug addiction, pretty much following right in my father's footsteps and didn't even really know it.
Did you join a gang?
I did. I became an Ontario Skinhead when I was about 17, and it didn't take long before that led me to prison. Only because my self-destructive ways were, it was a thing like surrounded by just hatred for people you don't know and really you just don't understand. And when you're white and weak in the area I come from, you get preyed upon by other races. And I'm not saying that they're bad. It's just we needed camaraderie, and I guess that's what I was really, really looking for, and that's what I found in San Bernardino County with my comrades. I regret a lot of life choices, like prison. It led me to a police chase in 2010. I led police on a pursuit, and it ended in Ontario with me crashing into a civilian car. And it left me in critical condition, and I hurt the people that I hit really bad. And I was sentenced to 8 years and 4 months in prison for this. And in turn, though, I suffered greatly. I broke my kneecaps, I lacerated my liver, smashed my gallbladder, a number of very horrible injuries. And,
Are you in a wheelchair because of that?
yes.
Permanently?
Well, I mean, I should have gotten better care, but when you're in the prison system, medical is kind of neglected also. You don't get the proper care that you need to get. So my bones kind of set, and a surgeon told me that they would have to re-break my ankle and set it again just to even attempt to fix the damage that I did. And with my drug addiction on top of that, needless to say, I haven't been handling, my business like I should have.
What is your drug?
My drug of choice is fentanyl to this day. But before that, I struggled with heroin for 15 years. And before that, from 13, I tried crystal meth, ultimately led to heroin at 22, all the way through my 20s to 33 now. And currently it's fentanyl that I'm struggling with today.
Oh. And what happened to the people that you hit in that accident?
They suffered some serious injuries, broke their shoulder because I T-boned the car, broke their shoulder, and 3 fingers were broken, one so severely that it had to be surgically taken off. And, I felt horrible about that. I never ever wanted to hurt a civilian. I wasn't really trying to hurt anybody, but due to my poor choices and just childlike behavior, I hurt an innocent person really bad, and I regret it to this day. I was in critical condition, flatlining on the table, but all in all, I look at it like these people were probably just on their way to the grocery store, and here I come ruining their day with cops behind me and in a stolen car. It was a very bad scene, and it's kind of humbled me to this day.
More than their day.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
More than just their day was ruined, I think.
Yeah, of course. I ruined a lot more than their day. Absolutely. I've ruined a good portion of their, of their life, like that they should have been relaxing in. And, I just bombarded them with my, felonious activities.
You sound like you feel remorse over it all. I mean, did prison give you time to do that?
Absolutely. I had once I got put in the chair like this, that was my time to reflect, and that was my real prison.
What was the chair more powerful
Yes.
than the prison time?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Being in the chair today has actually made me a better person today. I can honestly say I'm humbled. I'm willing to engage with, people of other races now, to hear their stories, or just get to know someone. Whereas I didn't give anybody the chance before. I can honestly say I probably consider myself a bad person before this accident. It kind of opened my eyes in a lot of ways.
Yeah, your demeanor seems very compassionate and understanding right now. I wonder, were you like this before the accident, before the prison time?
No. I didn't have, I know it's going to sound bad, but I guess maybe I didn't have any respect for human life. I had no regard for, another person's safety due to my actions. And when that happened, I woke up in the hospital and oh my God, I couldn't even explain to you how that felt. It felt like being hit by a train, and I couldn't roll over under my own power. The nurses had to come roll me over. My legs were broken so severely. I didn't even know if I was paralyzed yet. And then all in all, I'm thinking, oh my God, did I kill this person that I hit? Because when you're incarcerated like that, when they put you under a false name for security reasons. And so that means that you have no contact with, they weren't telling me nothing. I wasn't allowed to read the paper. I wasn't allowed to read nothing. So I was left there wondering if I even killed the person that I hit, wondering if I even had a chance at seeing the light of day again. And really, ultimately, not even being worried. Of course I was worried about my freedom, but it bothered me that I didn't understand why I was so concerned about if I had done that to somebody I didn't even know at the time, but quickly I realized, dude, I never filtered in that I was going to hurt somebody, or that I was, okay, well, let me put that different. I did take into consideration that I could possibly crash into somebody. But the sad thing is I had no respect for my life either at the time. I never considered living through the crash. Not that I was like suicidal or anything. I just expected that was it, And when it wasn't, I was left with a rude awakening after I woke up out of my coma after 2 weeks. I woke up, started coming out of my delirious state and realizing, oh wow, I'm in a hospital. I'm shackled to the bed. I can't feel my legs. And then ultimately pieces are coming back to me, remembering what I did. And yeah, I definitely have. I'm remorseful every day for what I did, and I truly hope that the people I hit could, honestly forgive me in their heart one day. If they haven't already. I got to actually see the person that I hit in my sentencing, and they give the person a chance to speak. And right when they did, the lady looked over towards me, and I was shackled at my waist like this, and my eyes were black, my lip was ripped open, stitches. But all I did was look over and I mouthed, "I'm so sorry I hit you," with tears in my eyes, because I felt horrible when I seen her come in the courtroom, and it was like I could put a face to what I'd done, because I hit a civilian driver, so I had no idea who was in the car.
Yeah. To me, that would have been the most transformative part of your story,
Right. You know, and it's, I just,
knowing that you hurt an innocent person out there.
yeah, and that's something I never wanted to do. You know, I've never been about, you know, that's one thing that actually, you know, attracted me with the skinhead movement is a lot of people think it's surrounded by hate, and it's really not. It's about, like, we're about raising your you know, raising your kids, you know, preserving the quality of your people, like a lot of good things that not surrounded by racism so much as people make it sound. You know, it's just nowadays the hate just comes from so many people. When you're a different ethnicity, you're different. That's all. It's not, I don't hate you because you're different. I'm just interested in my European lineage, my Caucasian roots, you know what I mean? But having nothing to hate about another individual, and that's another thing I educated myself in prison. You know, on other people's cultures, on their ways, on their traditions, on their foods. Like, you know, like I actually found myself fascinated by, like, I wanted to actually know, like, about, you know, like, I didn't see anything wrong with giving yourself knowledge of another person's beliefs, their traditions, their ways. I didn't see anything wrong with that. And, you know, like, ultimately, the chair is what has allowed me to do all that. It made me a better person ultimately in my heart, and I really feel that. It just sucks that it took such tragic events for me to see that, you know?
What do you think put you on this path that you were so destructive, self-destructive before your accident and before the car chase and prison?
Honestly, man, I just felt, I don't know if this makes sense, but could you be in a room with 1,000 people that know you even and still feel just utterly alone? Like, I don't know if that makes sense to you, but like, I had certain figures in my life, but not what I felt I needed. I wanted, I don't know, I guess I wanted a mom and dad. I wanted the things that, like, I seen other kids have when I was in school, or, you know, their parents come to these things, like, you know, school events. You see on TV, loving families and all these things. And when you come from a broken home, I mean, that's one of the first things that get neglected is the love and affection that a child ultimately needs, you know? Like, and I guess I see it now that a person's gonna find it if you're not getting your love at home. Eventually it's gonna move out to the street, and it's gonna be with your peers. It's gonna be with, you know, who you spend your time with every day. It's gonna be who you get to know. If I don't know, I guess I could say, like, if you don't curb the problem ahead of time, you could turn into a life like mine. That's why I'm actively in my son's life today. And I love my son. He's 7, and I'm very much a part of his life, and he's top of his class. He's very articulate for his age. He uses big words that I even catch myself like, where did you learn that? And he'll look and think, he'd be like, from you, Dad. And I'll give him 5, and I'll be like, oh, you did, didn't you? You know, like, the chair has allowed me to ultimately, I guess, ultimately become like the father that I always wanted. You know, like, I have my past and I have my mistakes, but I'm there every day. You know what I mean? I love him. I'm actively there. I make sure that he never feels the way I did.
Do you feel like you were loved as a child?
Not as much as I'd wanted, not as much as I'd wanted.
It sounds like that might have been the core of the problem.
I could say that. Yeah. It's kind of why I don't speak to my mother and father today. Not that there's any bad blood necessarily. It's just, I mean, no big deal, or no, I just got nothing to say, Like, I mean, it's great that they got their lives together now, I think that's great. It would have been nice when they were there for my sister, and she's 5 years younger than me, so like, I mean, she got to experience the, which I'm not, resentful for that or spiteful for that. I just like damn, like, I wish you would have tightened the reins on yourself a little bit sooner, you know what I mean? Like, maybe, I don't know, maybe things would have been different in a better light, maybe. Or maybe, I took full responsibility for what I did and what I've always done, ultimately because I feel that I did it. I was in the stolen car that I was driving. It was my decision to take them on the chase. It was all my fault what happened to me. So I decided I wasn't going to be angry about it. I wasn't going to cry about it. I wasn't going to make other people feel pity for me. Like, I was just going to man up, and I was just going to get through and get on with my life. And that's what I've attempted to do to this day.
What do you worry about? What are you afraid of at this point in your life?
I worry about my son turning into who I used to be, and then following in the same cycle that I did.
Do you see any signs of that with him?
No. I in no way like portray my upbringing the way I was raised on with him. I teach him that pretty much the exact opposite of that. Like, I'm not going to say that I feel the skinhead movement part is a bad thing, because that's not the part that I'm regretting. The part that I regret is not allowing myself to see the beautiful side of another race, another person, which, I've gotten to see the good side and the bad. So, yeah, I guess my worst fear is him turning into me.
Yeah, but you're doing things to prevent that now.
I mean, I'm trying my, all right, no, I can't, I'm not trying my best, but I make very conscious decisions about everything I do, everything I say around him, every example I lead, and I think I am on the right track, because, I mean, he says please, he says thank you, he says excuse me. This is all at 7 years old, and he's been doing this for quite a few years now. I've instilled in him the things that my grandmother and my grandfather are the reason that I am even half a mannered, individual like I am today. Like, it was because of them that I can speak well when the time permits, or, just have the common decency or common sense to say excuse me if I burped in public, or, something just like something that I guess you would say like the charming etiquette thing to do would be like, you say excuse me, like ooh, excuse me, like, just little things like that. I make sure that I want his mind to always be open to, like, there's no reason you have to hate somebody like that, you know? And I don't know, you know? I guess, I mean, yeah, I feel what I'm doing is like I'm on the right path. You know, now if I know what my problems are. If I could get a hold of my drug addiction, I know my life would be beautiful. I thought I'd found true happiness with my son's mom, and 7 years in, she changes her mind, so to speak, and left me for another man. And, you know, that kind of left me, it's horrible, you know, like, so now I sit, you know, on the single father side of it now, and still struggling myself now to find, like, I thought we were supposed to be together forever. Like, I thought that's who, you know, like, I'd found my soulmate, and, you know, like, I was happy. But ultimately, like, people get stale in their relationships, I guess. And I think that's what happened. I lost sight of, like, we turned into different people. And I don't know if that was for good or for the bad, but I mean, it's definitely shaping life's experiences today, you know? Like, only time will tell now. I'm not looking for a relationship, but I mean, if somebody comes along, like, I'm not afraid of it. Like, I would embrace it, but, you know, like, I was just left with that lonely feeling again, you know, like, and it was like all over again, but in a different sense, if that makes any sense at all. You know, like that dark, empty feeling of loneliness came back, and that's why I'm on the streets of LA, and, you know, smoking my sorrows away in fentanyl and trying to figure it all out again.
You're living on the streets now?
Yeah.
Are you in a tent, or
No, not at the moment.
you just wing it?
Yeah, I just kind of suck it up and, you
How
know,
do
just
you-
get through the night.
How do you support yourself?
I mean, honestly, I panhandle right now, you know, ask people for spare change. You know, it's not because I'm a lazy person or anything. It's just the damage I did to myself is so substantial that it's like the humbling thing I said, like, I've been able to humble myself to ask another individual for change other than my old ways before my accident. I wouldn't even worry about doing harm to a person to take their wallet or something like that. You know, that's a horrible way to think. That's a horrible way to be. So I thought I was making the right decision, just humbling myself to panhandle, I guess, right? But that's how I support myself right now. I panhandle from day to day.
And how's your emotional state today?
You know, it's rocky, man. I have my like, I have okay days most of the days. You know, it's more or less like, I guess I just put on a little mask and, like, I can smile through what I'm really going through, I guess. But I mean, the smile is a facade, you know. It's just for show. Like, I'm not happy. I'm not happy at all. You know, I do love my life, but I'm not happy with it. Maybe I just have to learn to really, really be comfortable with me and everything about me, you know, like if I can't be comfortable with myself, then how could I expect somebody else to, I guess, you know?
Yeah. Tell me about the face tattoos. When were those done?
They started about 2 years into my term. See, like when you're 22 and you get sentenced to 8 years, that literally feels like the rest of your life, even though it's not. You know, when I got through the end of it, I was like, whoa, it's already like, wow, 5 years has gone by, and I couldn't believe it. But when I started doing that, I didn't see myself going home. I thought that that was going to be my future. And I do regret them in a sense. Like, you know, I do love tattoos. It's not that. I just regret where I got them. You know, the quality of how they're done. And I guess people tell me I have a scary demeanor until I speak. And I didn't get that for a long time. Like, because I always feel like I'm one of the coolest dudes you'll ever meet. I'm laid back. You know, I've been told I'm funny, charm, whatever you want, however, you know, I've been told good things about myself from other people. Whether I saw those good things in myself or not, you know, that's what I've been told. You know, and like I had somebody tell me one time, like, it's not that you look stupid or anything. I was just like, what, I just don't look smart? And they laughed and they were like, well, yeah. And they said, because a normal person doesn't do that to their face. And I was like, right? I mean, I don't know, what could I say at that point? Because that's a true statement, you know, like if you put me in a room with 20, even 30 random people, I'd be willing to bet money on it that I have the most tattooed face in the room. And that kind of makes me extra noticeable in good ways and bad.
Yeah. Do you get judged? Just
Absolutely. Constantly. Where I could just be saying good morning to a stranger as I'm passing them, you know, and I only say it because maybe I'm rolling past them and I'm probably overthinking it, but I'm a little close for their comfort maybe. So I just, you know, good morning. But I just get this look like turn your nose down at me type of look, like this thing, you know, and I get it, but I don't get it. You know what I mean? Because like, I looked at it like, wow, I mean, even if I look like this, right? I mean, I feel I've made a lot of positive changes over the years. So, I mean, am I always going to have a bad stigma for like the tattoos on my face, or are people going to like let their guard down, for lack of a better word, and, you know, accept that like, hey, people change all the time. I could change too. The only thing that can't change is the permanent ink that I've put under my skin, that's all. You know, my heart's in a different place now, like, even if I still look the same.
Yeah. No, you seem like a reformed person. It's a shame that tattoos kind of drag you back into the past life you had.
I think that's a fair assessment, you know. I'd agree with that very much. Very much. You know, sometimes my tattoos get glorified by people like, oh, that's so cool, and like, not even having anything to do with the prison sentence, but 98% of the time, I mean, they're socially acceptable now more than ever, but they weren't always. I mean, if somebody had even the smallest tattoo on their face, that was a convict thing. That was a prison thing, and you know, that's what people always associated it with. So, I mean, even if I could be a tattoo artist fully reformed today, and I'm still gonna have people look at me like a convict that wants to snatch their purse or do them harm to people they love, and that's not the case. But I mean, people are gonna be people, I guess.
Donny, what would you say is the most important lesson you've learned in all of this?
The most important lesson I've learned out of this is that there's more out of life than just getting high and trying to curb the pain. Like, I guess I believe now that if we all could just bring ourselves to man up, for lack of a better word, and face the issues at hand, they wouldn't really be issues anymore. And you could move on and continue on with your life and not have these, again, for lack of a better, traumatic experiences that you fall back on to, you know, like things that set off a traumatic experience, or like, I don't know, somebody's parents fighting all the time and there were broken dishes, so your old lady drops a glass and that could trigger something and remind somebody of something like that. I believe now that if I would have loved myself enough to give myself the real fighting chance at life that I deserved, that I should have given myself, my life would have turned out great. Like, to this day, I want to go to the LA School of Music. I would love to, you know, I love music. I, you know, want to be a professional beat maker. I make beats in my spare time. You know, I'm working on, you know, getting a personal business off the ground. Like, I'm, you know, actually trying to do something of substance today. And I want to have something to leave my son. And at least when I go, let him see, like, hey, no matter daddy's past or anything you may hear that's damaging to my reputation as dad, at least he'll know, like, one of the last things that I was trying to do was something to ultimately leave to him. You know, I wanted him to see that, hey, you know, dad wasn't out just screwing up like some of my family members put in his ear. I don't agree with it. I don't think it's right. You know, I would never badmouth them to my son the way they do me. And that's a frustrating thing, because he'll tell you himself that I'm a great dad and I'm his best friend. And that means something to me.
All right, Donny. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Yes, sir. Thank you for letting me speak. I actually feel really good about getting that out. I haven't spoke that freely about myself in a long time.
Excellent. I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate you.
Thank you.